Welcome back to Boss by Bronte. If you haven't tuned in before, yes, I have been a little MIA. I've been doing 1,000 things behind the scenes, and part of that has been focusing on what I want this podcast to really be about. So Dash and the Boss brand are designed to help social media managers simplify the approach, build their brand, grow their business. So that is what I'm delivering in fortnightly episodes. So as mentioned, I'm your host, Bronte Creswell, and I'm so excited to be back for episode 1 of this new series. So jumping back in for episode 1 of this new series, I've decided to base it on something that has continually come up with my one-on-one students, and that is how to design a powerful offering suite. So today's episode, I'm focusing on the 6 main issues or common mistakes that I see when you are designing an offering suite and what to do instead. So if you're in the phase of putting together your packages, looking at your pricing, or figuring out what your offers actually look like, today's episode is going to give you some of the areas to avoid to actually make sure that it is a powerful approach for your business, but also for your clients. So the first major mistake that I see all the time is starting out and creating way too many packages. So what this looks like as a beginner is trying to sit down and think about every single possible tiny variation that your clients may want in a package and designing a separate package around that. It is a really quick way to end up with a package suite that has about 50 packages in it. And when you start actually offering these to the market and to your audience, you will find that probably only 2 to 3 of those are actually used. So you're going to waste a lot of time and energy on getting down nitty gritty, trying to define so many packages just to try and fit every single person's possible needs that may ever come up in your business. So what you actually want to do instead is sit down and think about what types of packages people will want, and then know that you're going to be able to tailor them to the specific needs of that person that you're talking to. So let me break this down a little bit for you. A lot of the time when I see newer social media managers come to me and they are in that stage of designing their packages, they will have a package that, for instance, says 5 posts per week, but then they will have a variation of that that says 5 reels per week, just in case that client only wants reels. And then they might have a variation of that that says 4 reels per week and 1 carousel, just in case someone wants that. So what you actually want to do is just have your package that has 5 posts per week, and that could be, say, 3 reels and 2 carousels, and that is your base package for that tier. If you have someone that then comes to you and is like, hey, I really need 5 reels per week, and that is part of my business, that's part of my brand, I really need that to be part of the deliverables here, you can then go to your package, tailor it slightly, adjust the pricing, adjust the inclusions, and send them that package. This is one of the benefits of tailoring your packages rather than just having set packages that you send to your clients and you let them choose what package they want. So the way I approach this with my students is that they will talk to the client first, get a really, really clear brief. That discovery call is crucial. Get a really clear brief on exactly what it is that they are looking for. It is then your job as the expert and the business owner to go back, have a look at your packages, tailor the one that's the most fitting, and then send them that package with the updated pricing and the updated inclusions. That is how you get around creating 50,000 different packages that are not actually going to be useful to your business or brand and actually make it 10 times more confusing for you and for your clients. The second major mistake that I'm seeing all the time at the moment is creating packages that have no real purpose or differentiation from each other. So what that looks like is, say you've got your base tier, you've got your mid tier, and then you've got your high tier package. Let's say it's $1,000 at the bottom, $1,500 in the middle, and then $2,000 at the top. Now, I've had so many one-on-one students bring these to me and say, hey, why is no one going for these packages, or what is it that I'm supposed to have in them? And when we review them, we realize that they're pretty much the exact same package. It's just like the bottom package will have 3 posts, the middle one will have 4, and the top tier will have 5 or 6. If that is the only differentiation, like I just said, you should just have one package and tailor it slightly based on what that person is looking for. If you're going to have multiple packages, which I do recommend having, sort of 3, those 3 tiers is a really powerful way to design your package suite. You want to make sure that they're differentiated. And the best way to do this is to actually think about who they are for. You don't just have 3 packages for the sake of having 3 packages. You have them because they serve different purposes for different types of businesses and brands. So your base package should be designed for the business owner who's like, I don't really, care about social media as much. I'm definitely not using it to drive leads or sales for my business. I just want to have a strong presence. I want to be proud of the account. I want to be able to post company updates on there. I want it to be on brand. That's really what that base package is normally for. Then your mid-tier package is based on the type of client that, does want to have a strong presence. They do want to drive, some results for their business directly through these accounts. They want to make sure that it's on brand, that the content is really performing for them, but they're not looking to, this is their main channel for marketing and this is every single thing that they're kind of relying on to grow their business. That is where you start to look at the top tier. So the top tier is the person who is like, I don't even care how much it costs. I don't really care what it looks like. Just make us, everywhere. Make sure our brand is amazing. Make sure our socials look incredible. We want posts as many times a week as we need to grow as quickly as possible. It's the person that wants kind of everything included. That is how you need to approach those packages and think about what that person actually needs and wants. So the only ways to differentiate them are not based on just posts. You can also differentiate it based on things like stories and things on like community management. So don't think that the only way to differentiate the value between them is based on the amount of posts. You can also look at things like content creation, design, community management, stories, things like that, and really think about who that person is and what is actually going to be valuable for them based on what they're looking for. The third major mistake that I see is adding in too much to make it feel like your price is justified. So when you hear people saying things like, oh yeah, my social media package is $2,000, you might sit down and go, okay, how can I make a package that is worth $2,000? That is so much money. I'm going to need to do 2 hours of community management a week, and I'm going to need to do 7 posts a week, and they're all reels and stories every day. And you just make this package that is completely unrealistic for you to deliver to a high standard, that is not realistic for you to actually scale your business because you are going to spend all your time on one client, and actually doesn't serve a real purpose for that client either. You're not designing it with what they want out of it in mind. You're designing it with how can I jam as much into this as possible so that I can justify the price for myself. So this is where you need to remind yourself that the value of what you're selling is actually in what return they get and what results they get and how much strategy is behind that. It's not based on the list of deliverables inside that package and that being as big and bulky as possible. Because even if you compare it, like I was just saying, if you had 7 reels per week in there for a client, are those reels actually going to be really powerful? Are they going to be designed really well? Are they going to be edited to a high standard? Or would you be better off doing, say, 4 reels per week that are really, really powerful for that client, and you've had time to really strategize what the messaging is and make sure that every piece of content is actually delivering their message to their audience, connecting with their audience, and driving results for them. So try not to focus on just having a massive list that looks really impressive and looks like it's got every single thing in it, and focus on the fact that you are the expert, you are the professional, you are thinking of what the most powerful package that you can deliver is realistically for yourself as a business for that $2,000 mark or $3,000 mark, and focusing on what that actually looks like. So don't get caught in just adding in a million things that are going to leave you burnt out and actually not deliver anything to the client that's worthwhile. The fourth mistake that I see all the time is going ultra generic instead of considering your niche and considering what they actually want. So this one is kind of specific for those who do have a really clear niche, and you could also have quite generic packages and then have your niche specific packages as well. So when we're talking about your niche specific, you really want to think about what that industry and what that type of business actually really needs, and make sure that you include that in your package and your structure of what you're putting together for them. So I had a student that was offering her packages to beauty clients, and initially what she was offering them was super generic and not custom to beauty or hairstylists at all. It was very much just 3 posts per week, caption crafting, all of the sort of set deliverables when you're looking at social media management. And what we did when we sat down, we realized this is her number one niche. This is the only thing she does. I was like, what do these guys actually need in their package? What does it look like? And how can you deliver that to them in something that makes sense for them? So what we did was we revised her content package, and we included things like a tour of their salon at the get-go, talking through all the tools that they use. We also did a package that was a monthly package that included 3 client-facing videos that we could use as portfolio. And she designed these packages purely around that industry based on what they were actually looking for. All of a sudden, all of her proposals were getting accepted because the second a beauty specialist or a hairdresser sees that package, and they can immediately visualize themselves utilizing all of the elements of this package, not just 3 posts a week. It's like, oh my gosh, I know the 2 people that I could feature for this. I know exactly what that's going to do for my brand. This is really aligned with what I personally need. It's no longer just about delivering something that's really generic and social media based to them. So making sure that when you have a niche, you're kind of focusing on what that niche package should actually look like based on what they really, really need. The 5th mistake I see is adding in things like strategy and optimizing accounts and highlights into the monthly package. These are not things that you are doing monthly, so you don't want them in the monthly package. They're not something that you just kind of lump in with the weekly posts that you're doing and the content schedule and the hashtags and the captions. They don't belong in there. What you actually need to do is pull out all of those set up elements that are really designed around that strategy and around optimizing their accounts, and do a completely separate setup package. Once that setup is complete, you can then move into the monthly package with them. One of the key benefits of doing this, aside from the fact that you are actually getting paid for your time, is that by the time you start posting on the account, you know that that account is set up properly, it's polished, it looks amazing, and it's optimized for reach and conversions with their audience. Rather than starting to post and going, oh, the highlights don't actually look great, I might need to update those a little bit, or their bio is really not hitting, and realizing that a few weeks or months later. It also means that the moment they start saying to people, oh, so-and-so is managing my account, they can have a look at the account and see that it's optimized and see that it is to a really high standard based on what you'd expect from partnering with a social media manager. I also have never had pushback based on pitching a setup package to my clients when I've done it in the right way and I have explained the value to them really effectively. And the last one is a nice, simple one for number 6. It is not having a minimum term for the account. So I always recommend doing a 3-month minimum and then month to month based on a 30-day cancellation policy. Without this, especially if you're lumping in your strategy and your optimization of accounts, you could work with a client for literally 30 days, spend so much time defining that strategy, so much time figuring out their messaging and their aesthetic, optimizing those accounts, and have them turn around and cancel on you. And what you've actually done is thousands of dollars worth of work that you will never be paid for. So having your setup package and then having a 3-month minimum with that 30-day cancellation policy on the actual management. So from the moment you start posting on their account is when that 3 months kicks in with the 30-day cancellation policy. And that means that regardless of anything else happening, you have got them locked in for that time period. And it means that you can also start to budget your business for that growth as well. So making sure that you've got that in there. Also, it means if they do cancel, you've got 30 days to replace them on your books before you really need to start rebudgeting and refiguring out where your income is coming from for the business. Thanks so much for tuning in to Boss by Bronte today. If you have enjoyed today's episode or taken anything away from it, please feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram at _academy__. Otherwise, I will see you in a couple of weeks' time on the next episode.